You guys are now tuned in to Sports Industry Podcast, and let's get right into it. I want to talk about a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to talk about the Lakers fired Darvin Ham, which, was not a surprise, but a decision that I don't necessarily agree with. I want to get into that. And then after that, I want to talk about Anthony Edwards, damn near being the face of the NBA. He's not in MVP discussions this season, but it's about to happen, man. The dude is 22 years old, balling in these playoffs. So I want to get into that, and I also want to get into a few more other things. It kind of touches on the firing of Darvin Ham and the player personnel not being correct, right? It was awful in a way. In a way, it was kind of bad, but we're gonna talk about a little bit of that. And then a little healthy debate, and I kind of want to see what you guys' thoughts on is Jason Tatum versus Anthony Edwards. Who would you much rather start your team with? So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Also, and this I'm gonna talk about this first. Kendrick Perkins saying LeBron should retire is one of the worst takes I've heard from Kendrick Perkins. One of the absolute worst. So let's get into that. Let's get right into it. So Kendrick Perkins says LeBron should retire because if he plays more, it's going to hurt his GOAT debate. And I think that's absolutely wrong, dude. The dude is averaging 26, 7, and 7. And I want to say shooting 41% from the three-point line. So for Kendrick Perkins to say that, and LeBron took his team into the playoffs, and let's be honest, he was the best player on that team. Actually, Anthony Davis hit or miss, right? So him or AD was the best player. Anthony Davis balled out. So, but LeBron is nowhere near. You can see it on the defensive side of the ball, how he kind of slows down. He picks and chooses where he wants to conserve his energy, right? So Kendrick, man, I'm sorry. That is the absolute worst take, dude. This man is averaging 26, 7, and 7, and you say he should retire because it's affecting his GOAT status. Let's be honest. It's LeBron versus Michael Jordan, and people who have Michael Jordan as their GOAT will never change that no matter what LeBron does. LeBron can win a championship, and it's still going to be 6-0 in the finals. It's still going to be he got one more ring. Like, it's still going to be more defensive teams, a defensive player of the year. Like, it's not going to change. It's not going to change at all if LeBron wins another title. It's not. It's really not. I don't see people's opinion changing on that. So, LeBron continue to play. He's playing for one thing, and actually, let's say two things, right? He's playing for the championship, obvious. That's obvious, right? But then he's playing so he can get the chance to play with or against Bronny. And it's looking like it's going to happen, whether that's next season or the season after that. It's going to happen. And I think LeBron really wants to do that. Once he does that, he can go off in the sunset, still averaging at least 22 points a game. At that point in his career, I want to say maybe a year or 2 years later. So LeBron retiring is pretty idiotic, but Kendrick Perkins does know basketball. He really does. But I don't think that's the necessary take, right? I don't agree with that. I really don't. Now, is there some things that LeBron, he's slowing down? For sure. He's 39 years old. He's going to be 40 next season. But that team was still good, dude. Like, honestly, 12 games above 500, that is insane. The West was historically great, and he still was historically great. LeBron was historically great. It's kind of he shot 41% from the three. He is evolutionized his game. Revolutionized his game. Sorry, wrong word. So, let's be honest. LeBron he's still good. Now, one thing that I kind of agree with, does LeBron need to take a step back? Yes, depending on who that player he's taking a step back of. We already know he's kind of did that with Anthony Davis, but I do think LeBron needs to kind of be that 2A, 2B player, right? But who's going to be that 2A? Is it going to be a Trae Young, right? Is it going to be a DeJounte Murray? Whoever we get in this offseason that is worthy to kind of jump ahead of LeBron. And it's really, honestly, it's taking the ball away from his hands. I would love to see LeBron play off ball way more. We know he's great on the ball, being that point forward, but I would love to see him not take that responsibility. He needs to kind of lay low on the responsibility of having to orchestrate offense and still get what he needs to do. So I think we need a point guard that will allow him to do that. And let's get into this, right? Let's get into this. Lakers fired Darvin Ham, and like I said, it was totally expected. You kind of knew it was going to happen, but should it have happened? I don't know, dude. I really don't know. It's kind of hit or miss. I said this in a previous video. Do I think Darvin Ham should be fired? No, I didn't think so. But then you hear things and you kind of create a different opinion. And was it unfair? Yes, I still believe it was unfair. I still think Darvin Ham is a good coach and he shouldn't have been fired, but I understand why, right? LeBron and AD kind of lost faith in Darvin Ham coaching that team. So I understand why you're going to listen to your 2-star players, but the dude was a second-year head coach. This was his second season ever being a head coach in the NBA, and guess what he did? First season, after a awful regular season, first half of the regular season, they make the trades, you get better player personnel, and guess what he does? He takes that team to the Western Conference Finals. You lose to Denver, which Denver was great. Denver was absolutely great. So you take that team to the Western Conference Finals, and then the second season, you bring back the same player personnel, and then you win the in-season tournament, and then you go on a slide, right? I think they lost like 10 out of 13 games during that slide after the in-season tournament, but you pick it up. You allow Darvin Ham to fix what he needed to fix, and that was the starting lineup in the rotations, right? I mean, he's a second-year head coach. It's going to take time. Should the Lakers have hired him? No, because if you have these expectations of him winning a championship in his second season, it's asinine, right? So, second season, like I said, 12 games above 500. I want to say a 47-35 record, but you're still in the play-in tournament because the West is that great. You beat the Pelicans and you get the 7th seed. Unfortunately, you draw the Denver Nuggets, the defending world champs. And in that series, let's be honest, in that series, the Lakers are up, I want to say, it was like 141-51 to 51-61 in terms of minutes. The Lakers are up every single time. They're up every single half. And then unfortunately, Denver had their run. And this is why I think he did get let go. He didn't have an answer for Denver basically coming back and winning those games, right? Game 1, up by 12. Game 2, up by 20. Game 3, I want to say up by, 9, maybe 9 or 10, maybe even more. Then game 4, we're up. We end up winning game 4. Game 5, we're still up, but we lose the game. So, honestly, that right there has something to do with coaching, not making the right adjustments, in-game adjustments, and the players not doing their job. So, was the firing should have happened? No, but I understand why. And I really hope Darvin Ham can get another chance at being a head coach because I still think he's a damn good head coach. So should he coach one of those young teams, maybe like a Charlotte? If Detroit let go Monty Williams, should he coach that team? Yeah, man, I absolutely do think so. So, it is what it is. Who's going to be the next head coach? I don't know. Mike Budenholzer, J.J. Redick, names like that. I'm trying to figure out another name, but Ty Lue, it's like 90% not going to happen. Damn near 95, 98% Clippers going to extend Ty Lue. So who's going to be our coach? I do think Mike Budenholzer will be a good choice, especially being a great defensive coach. So I mean, who knows, right? Who knows with the Lakers? It's a long off season. And one thing that we need to do is change the player personnel. So you got D'Lo, player option. Will he accept it? Will he not? Let's hope he does accept it so he can be used as a trading piece. We know D'Lo's not going to come back, but if he does accept that player option, he could and will be traded. And who do we get? Who knows? I don't even want to damn near talk about it, but I'm hoping it's Trae Young. So we do that. But one thing I think we need to do is compete with the top two teams, in my opinion, in the West. And that's Minnesota and that's Denver, which they're playing, not right now, but they're playing today in the second round in the playoffs. They have three bigs, Minnesota, to guard Jokic. I think that's the formula, right? The Lakers in 2020 had it. And I don't understand how we had the personnel in 2020 and then we went away from it. So I'm hoping this offseason we can kind of get back to that. And this is a wild take. And I kind of heard it earlier. Fuck it. Let's bring back Dwight Howard and let's give DeMarcus Cousins. Let's bring back DeMarcus Cousins because he was on that Laker team. So if we can bring back those two, I'm not asking for big minutes. I'm not asking for 10 points a game. I'm asking for effort and the ability to stop a guy in Nikola Jokic, right? Because that's what we're going to need him for. Put those two big bodies on him. Have AD lurk like Rudy Gobert is right now in this series. So, like, the personnel has to be way better than what it is. We had KCP, we had Kuzma, we had Caruso. We let those dudes go for Russell Westbrook, which was honestly the absolutely worst decision that Rob Pelinka could have made. So if we can get that, if we can trade for Caruso, we're not getting KCP, maybe not, but he's really inconsistent right now in these playoffs, which is kind of crazy. We're not getting Kuzma, but we need something like that. 3-and-D guys who plays great defense. I mean, every team in the league wants that. So it's going to be, grabbing those guys, finding a diamond in the rough, and let's see what we can do, man. Like, honestly, that is something the Lakers need to do this offseason is kind of recreate that whole team and find a coach that's able to work with that team and not put the blame on him when things go wrong. Actually, if the personnel matches up and he's still doing the wrong shit, I mean, you can put the blame on him. So that is what it is. That's a little bit about that Darvin Ham firing of the Lakers, and let's talk about it. Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is an absolute dog. An absolute dog, and this dude is special, dude. He's special. I think I was looking at his stats. He's averaging, I want to say 33 in these playoffs, maybe even more, and he was only averaging like 25 in the regular season. So like Shaq said, you get those numbers up in the playoffs, you dominate, you a dog, right? So Anthony Edwards is definitely doing that. And in that game one against Denver at Denver, 43 points. This man can do any and everything on the court. He can score with the best of them. He can shoot the three ball. The midi is great. The ability to attack the rim, a high flyer, and he's a defensive player, on ball and off ball. Like he has all the making to be the face of the NBA. Will he be? I really hope so, because he makes basketball very enjoyable to watch. So Anthony Edwards, absolute dog. Now, one thing that I want to kind of get into was Anthony Edwards versus Jason Tatum, and who would you much rather start your franchise with? And maybe it's recency biasy, but I'm going Anthony Edwards. I'm going Anthony Edwards just for the simple fact that he's a two-way dog. A two-way dog. And, I mean, honestly, bro, like, he just got it. He got it. For some reason, he makes other players around him better. He makes Rudy Gobert better offensively and defensively, because now he's switching on those pick and rolls and guarding the perimeter. I've never seen Rudy Gobert do that until this season. So he's making other players around him better. Karl-Anthony Towns is absolutely playing so well. I damn near forgot he tore his MCL during the regular season because he played that well in game 1 and in these playoffs. So, I mean, dude, Anthony Edwards is that guy. I mean, you still got Ja Morant, Victor Wembanyama. Like, those are the 3 that I can picture in my head kind of being that face of the league. Brian Windhorst, whatever it is, he said Jason Tatum could be that guy if he wins the finals MVP, All-NBA, and Olympic gold medalist this offseason. So could it happen? I mean, yes, it could happen. That team in Boston is really, really damn good. But I'm going Anthony Edwards still. Ja Morant has a lot to say next season. Hopefully he stays healthy, and hopefully that team stays healthy because they are damn good. They are damn good, especially, I want to say last season when they got the number 2 seed and unfortunately drew the Lakers without a Steven Adams. I think that played a big role. So, I mean, that's all I had to talk about. A little bit long, but that's it, man. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. I keep forgetting to say it in the beginning, but it is what it is, man. And let's get it going. These NBA playoffs are exciting, very exciting. So that's it for me, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. The Sports Industry Podcast.